Hello, I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We're the RAGAMUFFINs, and this is episode 48 of the Ragamuffin Music Podcast. It's a place for us to talk about the music we love.
On this episode, we will be reviewing new music from Electric Callboy, Bury Tomorrow, Paleface Swiss, Pop, and more.
And later on, we'll be making some predictions of what might happen in 2025.
Let's get right into the latest music.
Kicking things off with Pup. They're back with brand new single, Paranoid. You guys both know that I'm a big Pup fan, but I'm intrigued to hear what you thought of this new song.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. What I thought was kind of like striking about it at first, but then I got used to it, was like the production seemed kind of deliberately low quality, I guess. Which actually I think for a band like Pup works fine because it just adds to the vibe that they're trying to create. Like, it feels very raw, almost has the vibe of almost like a one track take, like almost like you're in the practice room with them, which is good because I think especially with like the lyrical content, the song feels really I mean, a lot of their songs do anyway, but this one feels really direct, and I feel like the way that they've produced this has like supplemented that feeling, so I thought it was great. So yeah, big fan.
Nice. James?
I kind of agree with you with the production side. It was one of the main things that stood out to me. As a song, it was more of like a grower over time of repeat listens. I remember like first hearing it and just being like, no, this really isn't me. But then over like time, it definitely became something where I was like, okay, I can kind of really at least like respect the songwriting. I think it does flow beautifully. It was a bit of a whole, I think the change into the bridge section, like it kind of disrupted the flow of the song a bit for me. But again, like you kind of mentioned, the production side of it was kind of actually the most intriguing thing about this song. Like I haven't delved into it as much as either of you have, and I don't still know if I will off the back of this, but I definitely grew to appreciate this the more I spent time with it.
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't an instant hit with me as well. I think part of that is, as we mentioned, the production. Going from The Unraveling, their most recent album, which felt quite well refined and very well thought out in terms of the production, to this, which is very much more stripped back and a bit more raw and live feeling, was I guess maybe a bit of a shock. But this is very much how their first couple of albums sounded. They're like a straight up punk band, like just putting out punk songs essentially, and that's what this song feels like. It feels like a real throwback to the kind of band they used to be. And that's not to say that they've changed that much, but naturally they've started to use different writing methods, different recording methods, but this feels like a back to basics sort of straight up Pup banger. Yeah. And I really like the music video as well. I don't watch a lot of music videos, but I'll always like make the time to watch a Pup one. And it's a really, really cleverly done lyric video essentially. Cool. Where like it's in like a small venue. I think their home venue in Canada, and everyone's sort of wearing T-shirts that have the lyrics on. Cool. And it keeps sort of like having some really clever cuts and stuff between the crowd. It's really, really well done. And they tease. There's a poster on the wall that suggests maybe an album coming on May the 2nd.
Ooh, exciting!
Interesting.
Well, keep an eye out for that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, we've got Against the Sun with their new song Pieces. To me, like, they would be so good on Download. The Download
100%.
lineup.
Yep.
Like, they've got such a really strong, like, refined modern metalcore and like hard rock blend, which, like, for a genre that at times feels like it's kind of done everything it can, like, they still kind of write stuff in a way that's like, it has a throwback, it has like a new feel to it. It's like just the perfect blend of like old and new metalcore and hard rock, basically. And like, this song, I got to give credit to Brad's vocals because he is always great, but there's a
few vocal fries in here particularly that just hit that spot, scratch the itch for me.
I mean, it's been interesting because, like you say, it's been a while since we kind of were first introduced to them, and we've kind of seen them grow as well. And I think it's been something we've always pretty much had the opinion on, that every time something new's come out, it's still building upon what's been done before, but it feels like it's leveling up, and this still feels like it's happening. Again, with the vocal performance and the lyrics, there's such an emotional, strong delivery and message within it, which I think is really powerful. And riffs in this are amazing. Like absolutely gorgeous riffs throughout, incredibly well produced, and yeah, very easy to go back and listen to, I think.
Particularly that riff for the breakdown. I really, really like that.
Gorgeous.
And if you listen with headphones on, you can hear like a distant "hey" just before the breakdown hits as well. So you can tell those guys are just really enjoying writing music.
Definitely a band that more people, I think, need to be checking out, for sure. Next, we have Electric Callboy with Elevator Operator. Now, I'm literally, as soon as I say that, I'm hearing it being said in the song, which I think is always a testament to when you hear a song title and immediately you kind of have it there in your head. You talk about music videos. This is a band that whenever they're putting a song out, I'm watching it with the music video because you know it's going to be highly entertaining. It's just an overall package of what this band are capable of and what they deliver. Everything is just always incredibly fun. And it just adds to it, I think, with the music video. Going to the song in particular, though, I think it's got probably the best breakdown transition I've heard in such a long time when it goes from the elevator music into the actual breakdown. Especially with the music video, I think it just adds another level to it. Vocals, I think, throughout are fun. It's just a fun band. I love it. It's just kind of them doing them as usual, what's expected, and delivering to a high level, I think.
Yeah, I genuinely laughed out loud when I heard the like elevator music transition to the breakdown. I thought that was really funny. I like the way they kind of build characters into their music. Like this song has been written around just like a guy in an elevator, basically.
Have you seen about the story behind it?
I haven't, no. And I haven't actually watched the music video. I probably should, really.
So I was watching Tank the Tech do like a reaction to it, and he's the tour manager for them. And he was saying when they're in I think it was House of Blues in Chicago, there was a guy whose sole job it was there to just be doing the elevator going from like loading up towards like getting it into staging. And apparently he was just the most chill dude, like an absolute legend. And that's kind of where the story came from. So you just find the most stupid thing that's happened actually whilst touring. And immediately they were like, yeah, we've got to write a song about this. So it works.
I really like the electronics in it as well. As a Shikari fan, it feels like a throwback to the sort of Common Dreads era of that band. So that I expect there's some kind of influence there somewhere. My only concern is how long until the novelty wears off. How long is that techno train going to be sat in the station for?
See, this is what I thought about with this song, because don't get me wrong, I love it, right? And like after one listen, I was like, great, I know it. It's in my head. It's not going. So like for me, I don't actually like go and listen to this band like just on my own a lot.
No.
I listen to the new stuff as it comes out and I enjoy the videos. And the times that I've caught them live have been like, I was really far back at one of their Slam Dunk sets. And I was like, I haven't listened to these songs in months, but I know them all immediately. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that's what makes them kind of exist, is that you kind of don't have to, like, I don't think there's a novelty to wear off, because you don't have to listen to them a lot, because like if I listen to this band again until download, I'll know this song.
Slam Dunk.
Yeah. Slam Dunk, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll know this song and fuck with it live. So it's like, to me, it's like brilliant. Like, that was funny. I'll enjoy that the next time I hear it. But like, I'm not going out of my way. In a way, does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's a really roundabout way of me saying that, but like,
and I had that approach, but then it got to a point, I think, like some point last year, where I was like, I'm just going to listen to techno again in full, and then since then, it has actually changed for me, and like, just the happy vibes you get from listening to it, to be honest, is a game changer. And again, with Slam Dunk, like I've seen them in passing twice now when they last played Slam Dunk a couple of years ago, and like the start of their download set, but I think that was the same day, like last year, and 2 years ago now in 23, when I think same day as Slipknot. So I was like, okay, I need to get in a good front spot for that, so it left that early. But I actually really want to go to Slam Dunk, and I don't care if they're clashing against A Day to Remember, probably on like the two competing headline stages, I'm guessing. I would much rather go and watch the Electric Callboy full set right now, because to go and actually experience the whole thing after seeing live footage as well, I feel like it's an experience that needs to be kind of done.
I need to do a yawn.
Well, now that we've let go of those yawns that we had, we can talk about the new Bury Tomorrow song, Let Go.
Banger.
I'm inclined to agree.
That makes 3.
That rhymes.
That was my thinking.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this new album. A lot of the singles that have come out have been really more diverse, I think, than what we've had, and you can hear them experimenting. Like, you have electronics on this. There's ways that Danny's kind of changing his vocals. The way this is produced, in particular with his vocals as well, with points where you've got the high scream and the low scream like harmonizing really strong. Plus then the countering with like Tom's cleans. I think they have found a really good balance, and it feels like experimenting slightly and pushing boundaries from what they've done before. I think the songwriting's been incredible, and some of the leads as well underneath are there that are really, really fun, and little kind of nuances they've put in the track. Again, quite a cool video. Not as like out there as like an Electric Corbo one, but I think quite deep. It has you very strongly engaged, and the visuals within it are extremely strong. But no, I'm really, really excited after this song in particular, and very much looking forward to the new album in May. The one thing that's always drawn me to them really has kind of been Danny's screams, because I think there isn't anyone that has the same vocal tone really as him, and that makes him different and unique. And that to me is something exciting, especially within metalcore.
I mean, he sounds like demonic on this song, like more so than normal. Like,
it's like his standard like level of screams is like just a growl.
Yeah, but this one is like fucking the depths of hell. It sounds like he's pulled this one from. Brilliant. Like I've never been like super interested in like their back catalogue, I guess, and not from like a standpoint where it's like I don't think it's good. Like, they were from an era of metalcore where like if you've heard one band, you've kind of heard it all, like, to a degree. And I think that their more recent stuff, like since the new vocalist joined, like, and from what was it, Death, like the Life and Death singles,
Life and Death singles, and then Seventh
like,
Son.
from then on, like this band has been really interesting to me, because I actually feel like now that, to me at least, they're doing something that I don't think any other band are like really doing.
Re-energized?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it. And that's not to discredit like their back catalogue. I'm sure it is good, but like it's okay, let me rephrase. It's never done anything to make me like go out of my way to like really dig into it like deeply. But like a lot of this newer era, basically like post-pandemic, they've been brilliant, and their set at supporting While She Sleeps was huge. Or to the point where I was like, I want to see this man headline Ali Pali now.
I would love
I feel
to.
like they really proved something at that set. So hopefully this new album is massive as well. I think it will be.
I mean, the start of this song, I was thinking, this is all right, but it's kind of generic metalcore. But then the journey that the song kind of takes you on, kind of almost sticking with the theme of the lyrical theme of the song, it changes who you are, like, and your thoughts on it as you go through. Like, it gets from the intro into kind of that slightly almost spoken word rappy bit, but then as that gains momentum and it almost like falls into like Dan's like normal screams and growls, that's the point where I was like, okay, I think I'm on board with this now. And then like lyrically towards the end of the song where they're saying like, what the fuck have I become? I'm no longer defined by loss. It's like the person, and my opinions on the song, like at the end of the song, it's like looking back and being like a completely different person at the start, and being like, didn't really care much for the song at the start, but by the end, where it's like expanded out into this really like open, expansive sounding metalcore song, I was loving it. So my opinion completely changed as the song went through, which I think is quite symbolic and reflective of the lyrical content of the song. So in that sort of extent, they've nailed it.
I think vocally as well, it's like really at the forefront of this song to show it off. And I think like one other thing that stands out to me is, like, you kind of brought it back and reminded me, like, when he has the spoken word bits and how that transition goes from there into like the scream. It's such a smooth transition in that kind of change of sound that you're getting, which is extremely pleasing to hear. It's not harsh, but you kind of go from that spoken into the harshest sound, and it's smooth as hell, which is not something easy to do, to be honest. So big props there. Big tune. It's time for me to talk about Landmvrks. Woo.
This is massive.
The landmark section of the podcast.
This is the landmark section of the podcast, and this is probably going to be a recurring theme throughout this year. Pre-warning everyone. New song, A Ride in the Dust, track 4, coming out from the upcoming album, which is out in April. which I'm very excited by. Probably will be album of the year. The most exciting bit about this initially when finding out was the feature, Matt from Sleeps. And let me tell you, it's not just like a feature. It's a feature, and they give him the space within the song, which I think really... It's a creature feature.
Featuring the creature.
Hey. But they give him the space in the song to really elevate it and put his stamp on it. He gets that whole second verse coming through. You get the points in the chorus, the back and forths, the bringing together of his and Flo's vocals coming into the breakdowns. You're hearing Matt put some big screams out there, and even him putting out like this is his first actual kind of solo vocal feature on anything else that isn't Sleeps, which I absolutely adore. I think this band are perfect in creating a song that takes you on a journey. I think they're doing something that only other band I can think of similar is Not Loose, in terms of when A Tear in the Fabric of Life came out and that video came out, they have the overrunning story from that in that visual, the animation. I couldn't name any other band that's similar in a way where if you go back from Creature to Sulphur to Summer 16 and to this, Alone in the Dust, the overarching story that they're bringing in from the album and in the music videos, an overall creative vision is extremely unique, and I don't know anyone else that's done anything like that. A big, bold statement. Go on.
Fall Out Boy did it.
With what?
Save Rock and Roll, I think. They
Did
did a video for every song.
Well, I wasn't aware of that.
And it follows the narrative. But not to discredit your
yeah,
point. I get what you're saying. Like
in an era where you kind of just sometimes, you get your band that do a great music video and you get someone that's like, oh, okay, we need to do a video for this. This feels like there's so much creative thought and process going through with it, which I think is incredible. I love this band. I think Kevin's drumming in it is absolutely phenomenal and has been really standing out in the recent tracks. They're fucking incredible.
I think the thing that's interesting about this to me is like, sure, there's because it's a concept album, isn't it?
Pretty much.
And
yeah.
I guess it's about like this creature, but really it's about like losing your sense of self, isn't it? And being lost in like, I guess, a dark patch or going through like a struggle in it. And I think the way that they've like visually represented this by having like first Flo gets like dragged into that realm in the creature video, and it's like one by one the band have been pulled through, and now they've pulled someone externally in the form of the feature has been like dragged into this world. I think that's a really interesting way to sort of get that narrative and that theme across. Like, I guess the ripple effect of like negativity essentially, and how it can like disperse through the people around you. Whether or not that's me just like reaching like an English teacher overanalyzing, but I think that's a conscious sort of like reflection of what the music is doing. I think this is going to be a contender for album of the year. Like,
yeah,
for what metalcore is, like, we talk a lot about like bands in that genre needing to do something unique. I think Landmvrks are like currently in a league of their own as far as like what they're creating in that space. Yeah, very excited for the album.
So just to touch on that point, when they put out Sulphur and Summer 16, they'd put like a little thing about it, like in these tracks on the new album, we follow a protagonist as he descends deeper and deeper into hell, undergoing both physical and mental transformation.
There you go.
Yeah, I've not got much more to add to that really. All I'll say is the crack of that snare drum.
Gorgeous.
And isn't it great that a band can have like a signature guitar tone?
That
oh God, yeah.
Their tone is so identifiable immediately, which is
There's a
particular sound they do. It's not quite a pinch harmonic, but you know the one. You know the one.
We know the one.
Banger. Can I jump in before we get to the albums with one more single I'd like to talk about?
Do it.
And go for it. You
apologies
jump right on
because
in.
We didn't plan for this, but I only discovered that this was released today, even though it came out on the 14th of January. And it's the song Too Much by the hardcore band Initiate. And I implore everyone to go and listen to it after this podcast because it's massive. It's like an eruption of hardcore and post-hardcore and like shoegaze. It's like this really huge sort of genre blending, like just wall of sound. But it has this like, it's really weird. It's hard. I feel it's hard for me to describe it. It has like this massively, to me at least, it has like such a massively like overwhelming like positivity to it for like a hardcore song where someone's screaming at you the whole time. Like, it feels really like celebratory as a song. So I just wanted to shout it out because I think that it's a really great song, and the first thing that they've released in I think about 2 years, and it's a bit of a departure. They were a bit more of like just a straight up hardcore band, and this has a lot of like sort of post hardcore and melodic influences in it. So if this is the new kind of direction they're going in, I'm here for it. And they're also supporting Static Dress on a few dates of their US tour coming up, which is more than deserved because Initiate are a belter of a band.
So we'll have to check it
Yeah.
out. I've not heard of them.
Just wanted to sing its
sounds
praises.
right up my street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. On to the albums. And the first one we've got is Paleface Swiss with Cursed. Now, I remember when we saw them supporting Counterparts at Electric Brixton last year, hadn't really delved too much into them. Really enjoyed their live set. Thought they were really fantastic as a live band. And I've kind of like dipped my toes here and there. And then as the singles were coming out for this, I was like paying a bit of attention, but not heavily. But kind of the first major album really that came out this year was this. And thought, yeah, okay, let's give it a crack. And I absolutely love it. I think there's a lot of diversity within the album. You go from kind of the all-out relentlessness of like Hatred and Youth Decay. You get kind of them really diversifying with Enough. River of Sorrows to end it again, completely different vibes. It's a journey for the whole album, and I think each song does stand out pretty strong on its own, and has been something that I've kind of kept coming back to. They've got a pretty identifiable sound, I think, with it. The vocals come at you with such a strong force that you have to pay attention. And yeah, it's been something that I've really thoroughly enjoyed. And actually, I'm making a trip up to Scotland at the end of February, up that way, to go and visit mate Callum up there. And we are going to go and see them live in Edinburgh in what looks like a pretty hardcore kind of venue in like a basement. So that's going to be brutal as shit. So there will probably be a vlog for that will come on the channel at some point. But no, like this is really kind of started turning me into a Paleface Swiss fan, to be honest, I think.
Yeah, this album seemed very highly anticipated by a lot of people online, and I think it probably just about lives up to that anticipation for me. I think the production is really, really good. Every like crack of a snare drum, every like strike of a pick on a guitar, you can hear with like intent and like intense detail. I think the vocals are great too. I was kind of, as someone that didn't listen to too much of their previous stuff, I was expecting it to be a bit more like relentlessly like hardcore and more on like the deathcore side. Like songs like Youth Decay are. But I think it's great that they can kind of turn that on and off, and it means that we get songs like River of Sorrow to like close on, which is just a massive metal ballad. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that.
Song.
What I didn't like was the start of Enough. I don't think the rapping quite works for me. I love the second half of the song.
Interesting.
When they bring back some of the heaviest, most aggressive stuff on the album, but the rapping just didn't quite tick a box for me.
Landmvrks do it better.
Without offending, you know that bit on Auntie Donna where they have like King Louis comes back and tries to do that relatable rap.
Yeah.
And it's just not, he's kind of like slightly off the flow and isn't quite delivering and isn't relatable at all. It felt a little bit like that.
I'll say there is a good message.
Although,
in the lyrics,
the message though.
Message is very good.
I want to clarify the message. I'm absolutely down with. But yeah, the rapping just didn't quite work for me.
I think that
Alex disagrees.
I do disagree. I think that I think there's an element of that that's probably quite deliberate. Like, given what that song is
well,
saying.
maybe it's to trigger people into giving hate.
I think like this might be like hyperbolic to say this. I genuinely think that song is going to be one of the most important songs in that scene, like for a while, because the topics and the way that it talks about and like really like front on addresses like homophobia and toxic masculinity within the heavy music scene is like, when people talk about like the morals of hardcore, like that's it to a T. Like you've got to be direct with that sort of shit, and for them to like really boldly say, I don't fucking want you at my shows if you're going to be like that, I think is what more bands need to be doing. Like,
I saw tweets this morning
'cause
of
you can't
people
fuck around with,
mentioning
like-
about it, and
like-
they're just like becoming a fan instantly for them actually just being so forward about it.
there are a lot of bands that like kind of dance around stuff, or like kind of deliberately like ride the fence, or like even I don't know if I want to call this band out.
Kubla Khan?
No, a band like Architects who
I knew
walk back their
The
political
ethos and-
status sometimes
Yeah.
to a degree where it's like, I don't kind of know if you still believe what you said you believed 3 albums ago, which people can change. I'm not saying people have to believe what they believe for the rest of their life, but like, if a band really goes out of their way to make like political or social
It's
statements,
the way that a band like Architects,
Mhm.
for example, not necessarily them, but a band like them,
a band like them could do something like
has built a career and a fan base on being so outspoken about certain
this. Yeah,
topics, to then be silent on them
yeah, is a bit like
just what?
Whereas this to me is like, people say like standing on business. Like, this is standing on business. This is them saying, this is like drawing a really fucking clear line in the sand. And I think that's important. I think more bands should take note. I also think this is musically, this is what I wanted the latest Kubla Khan album to do. This is like, I think, quite an interesting, like instrumentally and vocally. This is what, if people, I know because a lot of people online kind of feel a bit shortchanged by what they got on the latest Kubla Khan album. Listen to this instead. I think this is a more interesting version of that album.
Agreed.
I liked it. I like my own ignorance. I went into it. I looked at it and thought, like, looked at the track listing when I first listened, and I thought, this is not going to hold my attention. I don't think I'm going to like enjoy this all the way through. And I thoroughly did.
Well, that's another thing. There's a lot of people criticising that it's quite a short album.
I love it.
I
Give me
think
short
I think
albums.
this is the right kind of length for this kind of album.
This kind of music, yeah, you don't need like 45 minutes of this kind of music.
No.
Just like mentally, you can't take
Just
it.
I prefer short albums from all bands at this point.
And same with the flow. Like, enough comes at a point in the track listing where it's like, I kind of need a break now, and then that starts, and I'm like, oh, sweet, just
and
what I
then
want.
midway
Just what I
through
want.
gears you up to be like, okay, let's give them the real shit. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we're back.
I think that song is important. I think there are a lot of people who will be like feel personally insulted by it, and like, you should.
Yeah.
If you feel insulted by that song, good. Don't come to shows anymore.
I'll add something about the vocals as well. It's just like the playfulness of it.
Yeah.
Like the sort of random sort of breaths and
Yeah.
snarls and stuff that are sort of thrown in.
Also the speed of some of the delivery as well, where it, like, very much took me aback, and then kind of hearing it more regular, like, it has become a staple of their music, but very kind of unique to them in particular, I think. Yeah, I'll be seeing it live in about a month.
Sorry, Architects, for dragging you. To be fair, on the topic of bands who fucking mean what they say and say what they mean, Stick to Your Guns' latest album, what do we think?
And they truly have stuck to their guns.
Very good. Keep planting flowers. Go on.
Likewise with the Pale First Swiss album, I'll Stick to Your Guns are a band that I'm much more familiar with than Swiss, but I didn't really listen to any of the singles or stuff, or see any of the marketing and stuff going into this album, so I kind of went in with zero expectations, which obviously meant that they were guaranteed to meet them, but again, it's just a really, really strong album from them, one of their best, I think.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really give it any hype to expect it to be good, but it is a really, really good. The first couple of tracks are like straight up hardcore songs, like straight in with the high energy, but it's still got like the soaring choruses and like the signature whoa stuff that Stick to Your Guns are known for. So yeah, this is a really, really strong album, and I love it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that it's like a return to form, because that implies a dip in form. I think it's more a return to like just being back on my radar. Like, they were a band that I sort of like unconsciously like let slip out of my mind for like a good few years.
I think that's exactly what happened with me.
And like, I was kind of aware, like, oh, I think they've done an EP here, they might have done a new album there, sure. But like, I wasn't super like on top of what they were releasing. And same like with this one, it sort of just appeared, and I was like, oh, a new Stick to Your Guns album. And in like preparing for this, I saw that they have now been around for like 19 years, which for a band in this genre, like, I still think they're one of the best to do it. Like, this is like flawless execution of like strong world hardcore, and they're brilliant. And I don't even want to like pick out songs. I just want people to listen to the whole thing. I think the whole thing as a body of work is A, really easy to listen to on a loop, and B, it gives you everything that you want from hardcore in like every form.
I like that you mentioned listening to it on a loop, because it starts and ends with the sound of someone digging.
Yeah.
So if you do listen on a loop, it's like someone keeps planting flowers, which I think is a really, really cool touch.
I'll give you a few songs.
Go on then.
Because I haven't got much else to add, because it is an absolutely incredible album. Like Spineless and Permanent Dark as like 2 and 3, after like a bit of an intro, I think are incredible. The title track, I think, is absolutely phenomenal as well. Like immediately from the start of it gives you a different vibe as well. And again, like you kind of say with Enough on the Pale Face, it's like a bit of a breather for a moment before we kind of just return to the normal. And I think it was More Than a Witness actually as well. That's one that stands out. But it is a phenomenal album from start to finish. Production, I think, is fantastic. And it does come back to those like, familiar like woes and things like that, where it's just kind of like nostalgic in a way. And immediately it makes me go back and think of other songs, and I start hearing hooks like in Weapon and things like that.
In that sense, it's kind of a definitive Stick to Your Guns album.
Yeah.
Like there's elements from kind of the best of what they've done in the past.
Yeah, definitely.
Like sown into here, like a seed.
Yeah.
Any more plant metaphors you want to get in there?
Nothing more to plant there, though.
Let them. I hope they keep growing.
Yeah.
Let them grow.
And that's about it for new music this month.
It's coming out next month.
You tell me. No, I'll tell you instead.
You tell me.
We have got Dream Theater with Parasomnia, Killswitch Engage with Disconsequence, Architects with The Sky, the Earth and All Between, and Love Is Noise to Live in a Different Way. What are we excited for?
I'm quite looking forward to that Love Is Noise album.
Me too. I think that's going to be really
They've not
good.
released a full length yet, and they've been around for a few years, so I'm excited to hear what they can do with their kind of expansive sound.
Yeah, they talked online. They kind of want to define themselves as genreless, and that's definitely been explored in like the singles that we've heard so far. Like they definitely cover like pretty much anything. So I think this album's going to be really exciting. I'm kind of gutted that we can't go to their headliner, A Night in the Capitol, February 22nd. Tickets still available. This isn't sponsored. I just want people to go because I can't, and sometimes you just come across a band, especially like the size that they're at. I just want to tell every person that I speak to about this band. So if you fuck with Loathe, Deftones, but also like shoegaze and like even like synth pop, I guess, listen to Love Is Noise. I guarantee there'll be at least one song you like.
Is that the album you're most looking forward to?
Dream Theater might be pretty good.
I think it is. It's their first album with Portnoy.
The return of the great Mike Portnoy.
Bingo!
Where's Bingo? It's going to be a banger, I think.
I'm really excited by it, and I'm majorly fucked up by not going to the 40th anniversary tour that happened last year. And so I'm praying they're doing a UK run in support of the album late this year. We have to go.
We were like, oh, should we go to that Dream Theater tour? Oh, it's tomorrow night. Sick. Can't go.
So no, that's like a bucket list thing I need to do. I need to go and see him live, and I've got very high hopes. To be honest, singles that have come out, really, really enjoyed them. On a side note, loving all the Portnoy stuff on Drumeo. Fantastic shit. Seen a new video's come out today. I'm going to give it a watch as soon as I get home.
Oh yeah.
Very excited by that album. I mean, I am intrigued as well with the Architects album. It has felt like there's been a change that's come through in recent singles.
I do think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good. Last two albums. I'm trying to remember what one before was. Classic Symptoms in particular really didn't land for me in any way, shape or form.
I think there's some features on the album as well. I can't remember who.
I want to say World of Pleasure might be a feature, but I might have literally just pulled that from out of my house.
Let us know down below what you're most excited for next month. And we've been to some gigs this month.
We have.
Would you guys mind if I ruin the continuity by putting on a hoodie?
Gig talk.
Gig talk.
We've done gigs in January. Gorgeous. gorgeous.
Wow, you can't train that sort
We've
of
still
talent.
got it.
Too good.
Did we do any gigs in January?
That's why you should
right,
subscribe.
Oh, fuck, I did a gig in January.
Let's start
You
with.
played a gig.
Let's
in
start with
January.
what was our first gig of January, but pretty much a different kind of gig for you.
My first gig of January as
Your
well.
first gig of January, we were playing. Worst wishes at our little local one, Fat Lil's
Sold out
headline
hometown
show,
headliner.
single debut.
Yes, it was brilliant.
It was fantastic. So there is a vlog of it now. Go and check out Worst Wishes on everything. Music videos out probably
Imminent.
by time
Out,
of recording, if
probably.
not out very, very soon. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to
was.
see our local
It was.
venue packed out for like our mates and brothers. And it was really good, and you guys fucking killed it, and it was a lovely way to kickstart 2025, I think. Yeah, it was just great to hear people singing along to the songs that have come out.
That was
and
my
not
favourite
just-
thing, I think.
not
seeing
just
people singing
like-
along.
Like our group of mates, I think there was just more people there. And as you can see from the vlog, packing out that venue on your second ever show, fucking incredible. Extremely proud.
I'll have to
And
take
you guys
your word
fucking
for
killed
it
it.
because I couldn't see nothing, I couldn't hear nothing. So if people were singing along, or if people were even there, I don't know.
Imagine that if we like had just had a big crowd of people before the show, and then as soon as the lights go down, quick, everyone out.
Everyone out. Replace them with cardboard cutouts.
There's one point which I caught on camera, which you can see in the vlog, where one of the support bands were on, who were great, by the way, really good. Seen It All and the Van Stardens. I think the Van Stardens were on, and you were sort of making your way through the crowd, and I bumped into you and went, "Busy in here, isn't it, mate?" And you went, "Yep."
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, a little bit stressed, but
Killed it though.
had a lot of fun. Can't wait to do the next one. February 22nd, Oxford, the library, 2 p.m, all day festival.
Get
What
your
a pro.
tickets.
Plug
We'll
that
put a
as
link.
pro.
There'll
Was
be
it
a
like
link
12
below.
quid for a ticket to see like a whole day's worth
Whole
of
day's
bands?
worth of bands. And
Bargain.
Less than 15 quid. So less than 5 meal deals.
Bargain.
That's a bargain. That's unreal.
Link will be below. Come on, come down. Come support
Let's
local
talk
music
about
scene.
let's talk about actual gigs.
That was an actual
Wow,
gig.
you know what I mean? Gigs that we've been to.
So then my second gig, your first gig of the year. My Christmas present from you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We went to Electric Brixton to go and see Better Lovers on their headline show with support from Frontiera and Greyhaven. Again, vlog out for that already.
You two have hyped this show up a lot, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about it.
Genuinely think we will still get to the end of the year. We will do the awards. It will, at a bare minimum, be in the discussion of gig of the year. If not, it will be the gig of the year. It felt like the perfect curation of a live set, of the escalation of bands, but also the bands all fitted each other perfectly. I think there was the chaotic energy you would expect and hear and see in a Better Lovers live show carried throughout. And it just gets to the headline performance, and they were fucking incredible. And I know both of us came away from it in particular being like, that went by way too fucking quickly.
Oh yeah, the show was over in like a flash. It was crazy. Like they played 13, 14 songs.
Yep.
Didn't fucking feel like it. It was like, oh shit, that's over. That was incredible. But obviously they're all veterans from the bands they've been in before and stuff, so you'd expect it. But like, they're so tight for music that's so chaotic and so frenetic.
Yeah.
They're so tight live.
Control chaos.
And
Method in the madness.
they were just brilliant. Yeah, I think we'll be talking about that set for the rest
That's
of the year
like
probably.
the benchmark for me now on every gig afterwards, in particular, of is it gig of the year potential? Like the bar has been set extremely fucking high, and hearing songs from the new album after listening to it,
Yeah.
in particular, because kind of we had a few singles when we saw them at Trees, and that was incredible in itself. But hearing some of the songs like White Horse Covered in Blood, Superman Dies Paralyzed, Love as an Act of Rebellion, after spending time with it in particular, and how active the crowd were, how loud the crowd were, the energy in that room, the pits were phenomenal. Everything came together, and it was a kind of a perfect gig, really, to be honest. So
Very on brand.
can't say
Interesting.
enough good things.
I'd love to know what other people think a perfect gig would be.
Check out our Perfect
you've
Gig
not-
series.
If you're not,
on
we
the
do a
channel.
series called A Perfect Gig, by the way, if that's gone over your head. Anywho,
Any particular like set highlights? Did they
White
do-
Horse Covered in
White
Blood.
Horse Covered in Blood was
and
really
Yeah.
good. Future Myopia was really good.
No.
Greg doing any crazy shit?
Yeah, when it got to 30 under 13, getting
Kind of
towards the
dived,
last
I
bit.
would say, feet first.
Yeah, pretty
Kind of
much.
dived like a long jump.
It's like you could see it
That's
coming.
It looks like he almost just sort of walks off the end of the stage and just
Yeah.
sort
Pretty
of,
much. Yeah.
just vaulted over.
Um,
Christ. I mean, it was
there
one
was
of
a
those...
point where he had the mic in his mouth and his hands down by his
Like a
side,
T-Rex.
kind of like a T-Rex, and he was just shouting into it. I was like, sick. I love this.
It's one of those bands as well, in particular, like, my easy, like, band to equate it to is Slipknot, where you watch a show and there's so much going on and you're looking everywhere. This is a band like that, where that chaos is on stage as well, and you look and you see Jordan. When I was on the left hand side, you see Jordan just going apeshit. Then you got Will jumping over there, Greg's just going everywhere, and there's just so much energy throughout.
there were sausage rolls there.
Exactly. Yeah, fucking incredible.
I'm sorry.
Dan, what gig have you been to?
Yeah, what was yours?
I went to a pop punk boys' wet dream. I saw, not because I was in Birmingham. I saw Neck Deep with support from the Wonder Years and One Step Closer. Obviously, the Wonder Years, probably my favourite band of all time. One Step Closer, one of the hottest new bands in that scene. And Neck Deep, who have established themselves as, easily the UK's best pop punk export, but one of the biggest pop punk bands in the modern era, I'd say.
Yep.
And it was just so much fun. It was a bit packed in there. It was very, very full. It was the same venue we saw Sleep Token in.
Okay.
And it didn't feel quite as full as that. There was still like enough space to have like circle pits going around for like Sort Yourself Out and Dumbstruck Dumbfuck and stuff. And plenty of mosh pits as well. But it did feel full. But
I
in
think
like
sold
a,
out.
I think
It
that
was sold
venue
out, yeah.
suffers from because of the.
I think it's the
balcony.
layout. Yeah.
People sort of funnel it, trying onto the floor as much as they can.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, because obviously they're never going to oversell it, but like, the feeling of it being over full is probably just because people are trying to get a view from.
Like I said, there was still plenty of room to be moving around, so
My
it wasn't an
question
issue at all.
How are one step
is-
closer? That's my question.
Really good, yeah. It felt a bit weird seeing them in like a slightly big venue for them.
Yeah.
And obviously with them being the first band on, there wasn't really too many people that knew the words and stuff, but they did what you need to do and just played it like it was a headliner.
Hell yeah.
Just tried to get people involved, encourage circle pits and stuff.
Do you know the capacity of the venue?
I think it's 2,000 and something,
Okay.
like 2,500 roughly.
I don't know. There's a part that's just wondering. Like, obviously they did Ali Pali, and I can't remember if they sold it out. And how was it like? You were at the Ali Pali show as well, weren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was. I was there with
I was
you.
trying to remember. Did it feel like a step down going from like a venue that size to then going to something much smaller,
No.
or did it still feel
No,
grand?
I mean, obviously with Ali Pali, they put on like a bigger show with the production and stuff. But there was still, in terms of production, there was still like confetti cannons and like
Okay, cool.
those like sparkly streamer things they do, and pretty much anything that you can probably get away with in a venue that size, they still did.
Oh, okay, awesome.
And set wise, it wasn't too dissimilar from Ali Pali as well. There weren't so many throwback songs. It was
Yeah.
a bit more focused on
Late
kind
album.
of the new album with a couple of deep cuts from some older ones.
Okay,
Smooth Seas.
Smooth Seas.
Hell yeah. Love that.
love it.
Yeah.
That's good. Banger.
I was kind of part hoping for a few more from Life's Not Out to Get You, considering it's the 10-year anniversary. But Ben has seemingly been hinting at some shows on this tour that maybe that's a possibility towards the end of the year. So that's something to
Banging
keep an
with
eye
That's
on.
what we
We're
see at
going.
Slam Dunk.
Don't think so. No, it's not been billed as
Only
that, has it?
because a lot of the other bands on the lineup are doing
Like Copacetic's being done.
I think if they were doing it, it would have been
Yeah,
billed as,
absolutely.
as that. Wonder Years goes without saying, they were great as well. Only slightly disappointing seeing them headline so many times. This is the first time they mentioned on stage, this is the first time they've done a support slot in the UK since touring with Enter Shikari in 2016.
Shit.
That's a bonkers lineup.
And I
Was
didn't
your
go.
wet
I
dream-
didn't go.
Why?
Don't know.
Crazy.
Don't know.
No excuses.
But yeah, it was just slightly disappointing, like the set length for them. I felt like I could have done with another 300 songs from them.
If you could have a 4-hour concert
exactly.
from them, you'd have it.
Yeah, for
And then
sure,
still want an
definitely.
encore.
Well, I nearly have. I've seen them play like 2.5 hours before. But yeah, other than that, their set was amazing as well. I think it was weird considering they're a band that have been around for such a long time. to see them play a support slot and not have. I'm used to seeing them headline and like the whole crowd is like really passionate and knows every word and is like climbing over each other and stuff. So to see them in a support slot where not everyone knows who they are and they're playing the game of winning people over was like a really unique situation and like felt a bit odd considering how long they've been around and that they're like, I mean, Neck Deep like made the point and the mention of the Wonder Years inspired Neck Deep to an extent.
Yeah.
So considering they're like one of the forefathers of modern pop punk. And they're playing a support slot and having to win the crowd over. Just felt slightly alien, but
yeah, no, I get that.
But it meant they went out like with the intention of just.
You could
doing
say
the best
they came out swinging.
They did, and they did close on that.
Brilliant.
Vlog coming soon.
Vlog coming soon.
Yeah, boy.
Banging.
That's it, innit?
Anything next month booked apart from Worst Wishes on the 22nd?
Nothing booked. Trying to drag someone to Ithaca's final show.
I'd like to go. I'd really like to go.
Would love to go to the 4 Year Strong Koyo Shoreline tour because that's a bonkers lineup. But just trying to figure out the logistics of it currently.
Paleface Swiss in Edinburgh. That would be fun.
I'm considering a last minute trip to see Origami Angel.
Ooh, nice.
Might do that.
We're thinking about High Vis and Narrowhead as well, potentially.
We are being more active with
trying to be
this
active.
year.
I mean, half of these might not happen, but we're thinking about it. That's a start.
Yeah,
because
I've got mine booked.
Because last year, like gigs were coming up, and you're like, I didn't even know that was happening.
I still feel like
at least
off
we
the
know
radar.
these gigs are happening. So
I operate out of a diary these days.
that's just stepping out. God.
So I can write them in, and then flip to the day and go, oh shit, that's today. I can't go now. We should go to more gigs, and I'm sure if we do go to more, we'll create some kind of content around them. Whether that's a full-on vlog on the YouTube channel or a mini TikTok vlog.
Yeah,
might happen.
We'll do something. Before we get into this episode's discussion, we've got T-shirts for sale.
Whoa.
None of us are wearing them at the moment, so we're going to flash them on screen instead.
I'm wearing mine so much that it's in the wash at the
They
moment.
look really cool. There's a classic Ragamuffin logo tee and the barbed wire cat tee. They look so sick.
Yeah.
So just buy one, I reckon. You probably.
Just go get one. Ragamuffin
If you want.
666.uk. Links below. Head straight over. Grab a t-shirt. Why not?
Back to the podcast.
It's 2025. That's scary enough to say as it is.
Time's relentless, isn't it?
Last year was a phenomenal year for music. However, that is now done, and we are looking forward to this year. Kind of making predictions. Who do we think is going to have great years? Maybe it's a big band that are being put into a higher spot and should have a spotlight on them even more after what they've done in past years. Maybe it's a new band coming through that deserves so much more recognition they can get. We're going to discuss a few bands and say who we think is going to have a bloody good 2025.
I'll tell you what, you just said one. As it is, they're back. They've recorded reimagined versions of some of their legendary might be a strong word, classic tracks. They themselves would admit that. They've dropped Dial Tones with Lucas Woodland from Holding Absence, which sounds amazing. They're playing a throwback set at Slam Dunk Festival, and they've teased possibly the idea of doing some more stuff later in the year. So they're going to be ones to watch this year.
There seems like renewed energy with them.
Does seem like it, yeah.
Like a new passion that's coming through with it to really push forward. So it's lovely to see that from bands, to be honest.
And there's a lot of people excited for their return as well.
Yeah, as it should be. I'll get out of the way. I mean, we do Portnoy bingo anyway, but I think we may as well start doing Landmvrks bingo at this point. We reviewed the new song, as you've heard. The album is coming out in April, The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. A band that I will keep chirping on about. And I think they're going to have an incredible year. I think it's going to be album of the year. The set at Slam Dunk, I think, is going to be sick. And I'm hoping that Matt comes out and does the feature on a line in the dust. UK tour. Again, that'll be the only thing that I can think at the moment that could contend against Better Lovers as gig of the year at this point. I can't say enough good things. Yeah, I think they're just going to have a fucking great 2025.
Fair enough. Is it me next?
Go for it.
Sure. I think Loathe are going to release a great but divisive album.
Ooh.
That's my prediction for the year.
That's good.
I think they're going to release something that most people are going to be like, yeah, epic, nice one. And some people are going to be like, I waited 5 years for this.
Mm-hmm.
So interested to see which way we fall on that one. they're surprisingly low down on the download lineup as it currently stands. So I wonder if that's due to like lack of new music and the fact, but also it's kind of weird because they've been like really inactive in the UK. They've been putting those US visas to bloody work. Fair play, I would as well. But I think divisive album, big UK tour, big things coming soon from Loathe.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely could happen. I think this year at Download is going to be very interesting, and I think it's going to really show the change in shift into how that festival is going to be in the future. We kind of had the teaser of like new headliners coming through with Bring Me the Horizon a couple of years ago, and they bringing people in who haven't headlined before. But I think to have 3 headliners in particular this year, who I think are all going to have incredible sets anyway, Sleep Token possibly becoming one of the main talking points afterwards anyway, especially with the idea that new music could be coming out. But I think this is going to be the year that really solidifies, coming out of it in particular, Download is making a step towards looking at a new generation and pushing forwards. And I think that's a huge thing that changes the landscape of alternative and metal music and opens the doors to so many other people being pushed to a headline status, getting greater exposure, because once a lot of bands headline Download, it pushed them to another level. And it's one of the things that happened to Slipknot back in 2009. That's kind of one of the key things that exploded them into the ginormous beast they are now. And I think Download definitely has that capability of doing that for so many bands. So I think we are about to see a colossal changing of tide in the alternative and heavy scene, which is going to be amazing to kind of sit back and watch, I think, to be honest.
I think by proxy as well, that's going to push festivals like Bloodstock higher, because I do think with Download this year, it's going to be, for a lot of punters, kind of like a make or break year. Like, because there are people that will be like lifelong Download goers who, for them, the changing of the vibe this year could be like the final straw for some people. To that I say, don't care. It's not interesting to see the same fucking 5 bands year in, year out.
It needs to be fresh. It needs to be new.
So I think we'll probably see, this is kind of a prediction for next year, but like the effects of Download this year will probably ripple through the alternative UK festival scene in the subsequent years to come. Especially with like Reading and Leeds as well. I think we will see an almost complete disappearance of alternative music at Reading and Leeds, because
which is
the
weird
bands that we
when
felt,
you look at that Saturday that they booked this year.
It's interesting.
Bring Me the Horizon, South Arcade, and probably some other alternative bands.
I'm sure some other bands, but
Shikari,
they're not coming to mind. Yeah, maybe. But I feel like Festival Republic are probably going to look at this and go, why are we trying to put our eggs in too many baskets when really we can cement Download as like the ultimate UK rock festival? Yeah. So that's for that.
Yeah.
Go on.
Speaking of the future of Download, I think Spirit Box are going to have a huge year. It almost sounds like an easy one to go for, because of course they are. But they're releasing an album. They've got a massive sold-out tour across Europe and the UK.
Grammy nomination.
Yeah, Grammy nomination. Yeah, the album's not even out yet, so
March.
It's going to be massive.
I do completely agree with you with that. And I think the interesting thing with Spirit Box as well is they've toured with Sleep Token, they've toured with Korn, and I think they could potentially, especially with this album, sub-headline on either of those days on Download. If Download are going to be bold with what they've done with booking choices already, and this is where it could be that absolute blow-up of Spirit Box.
Well, they supported Korn at the Gunnersbury Park show, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
I think this could be where they get pushed a hell of a lot. And you bear in mind, again, in A Quick Ascension, this is only their second full-length album. So, again, you look at the speed that's happened with Sleep Token, and Spirit Box certainly heading in that direction as well. And it's fresh and it's encouraging to see, like kind of going back to that point of it, Download Festival looking at the future with it. I think it's heavily important.
My next prediction for 2025, Warped Tour will flop. I hate to say it, but you know, that first announcement was a bit...
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What do you think of the way they're announcing it?
Shit.
Day by day.
I don't really like it.
Terrible.
I like the...
What is this, a fucking advent calendar?
I like the intent behind it of they're like... Well, no, actually, I don't. Like they've gone with their intention is to like highlight each band to give them all a spotlight. But we know Bowling for Soup are.
Yeah.
We know all these other bands are. We don't necessarily need to give them all a spotlight.
If Warped Tour needs to give a spotlight to Simple Plan, what are we doing? Like, come on. No, just Simple Plan.
It's like, here's Mod Sun. Yeah, we know Mod Sun.
Yeah.
I agree though. I think like the ticket pricing in particular is a huge point. Expensive as hell. Which again, since Warped Tour last came out, like the landscape of festivals and paying for gig tickets is way different than it used to be. But I also feel like because of the past of Warped Tour, the pricing, the way things are being done, I think it would be a massive flop with it, and I don't see it returning after this year.
I like to think that it is well intentioned. I don't believe that like they've brought it back to make a quick buck and then go away again. I do think that they want to encourage like new music, and like it was a really great tour in the past, specifically for UK bands to go out and try and crack America.
Yeah.
And I do think that they want to try and ignite some of that fame again. But yeah, I can see it flopping. A lot's changed.
I think we just live in a the world is so different now in the sense that I imagine for like an alternative teenager in America, you could go to Warped Tour and see like a full day's worth of bands you've never heard before. Whereas now it's like you can just see it on your phone, like without really having to look for it. The algorithm just chucks these bands at you already.
Point, yeah.
So I feel like that like well-intentioned thing of like, here's a bunch of up-and-coming bands, go see them. As nice as that concept is, I just don't see it working. I think unfortunately, things like Sick New World and When We Were Young, that basically book all the fucking biggest bands in those scenes, are going to be more appealing to people, because it's like, why would I spend $60 on bands I kind of don't know when I could spend maybe a bit more money and see all the biggest bands play like all their fucking hits or like all their best albums? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an odd one. I feel like it's well intentioned, but the decision to sort of go back into a market that's already kind of oversaturated, and I feel like When We Were Young has already sort of dealt with the void that Warped Tour left. So it's like, I don't know. I'd like to be proven wrong. That
kind of leads me on to mine. Is that
maybe invite us along, Kevin, to prove us wrong in person?
Is that I think When We Were Young will be fine because of it being available to a wider fan base. But if I'm right in thinking Sick New World is cancelled.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I think that we won't see the return of Sick New World. I don't think there was enough demand for it. I think, again, ticket pricing was way too much, especially for a one-day festival. And based on kind of some of the information I've seen out there in terms of, I want to say it was Metallica and Linkin Park headlining, and what supposedly the rumoured cost were to have each band on there, going into the millions. And based on ridiculously low ticket sales, I don't think it's a feasible festival that's going to continue.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think it has died.
The US has already got like enough, like Louder Than Life, Blue Ridge, all that sort of shit. So the heavy stuff's kind of already dealt with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess When We Were Young sort of is a different niche.
Yeah.
Any other predictions that we've got?
It's probably going to be a Sleep Token album, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks
that
like
seems,
it's
that seems pretty likely.
Download, or at least new music before download.
I think we'll probably get new music before download.
I think we get,
and then I reckon the album will be
3 singles before download,
like September, possibly.
I got one for both of you.
Go on.
If you were to put a guess out there, in the last couple of years, we've seen, not even last couple of years, last maybe 5-6 years, we've seen bands like step up at Ali Pali and produce like the biggest show of their career. We've had it with Architects doing it multiple times. We've had it with While She Sleeps. We've had it with Neck Deep. Who is the next band, I guess mostly probably from the UK scene, that you could see doing a big bold statement and say next year or in 9 months' time we're headlining Alexandra Palace, where it's going to be potentially the big moment for that band to step up to another level?
That's a really good question.
That's a great question.
Thank you. You're welcome.
See, before you said UK, my brain went the Story So Far.
Okay.
I don't think they've done a venue that size in the UK before.
Yeah, especially if it's like a one night.
I could see them come over and do like a one-off.
Okay.
Like big London show.
The only reason for saying UK is I feel like for bands in the UK it's a big thing to do in particular.
Yeah, sure.
Like you said with the Sleeps, like a Neck Deep, a thing like that, where it's like this is a huge moment.
Even for Architects, it was a very big step up.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'm just trying to kind of rack brains and think of it. The only one I can think of, we did mention earlier, which would be Bury Tomorrow. I think if the album goes to great success, I think it's something that, bear in mind, it may not happen this year, it may get announced later this year, but I think that is still something to think about. That would be huge for 25, is seeing the next great alternative band, heavy band, whatever it may be, take that big jump up.
I'm trying to look at the records behind it, see if that sparks.
Isn't it crazy as well that Sleep Token kind of jumped that?
They jumped
step?
that, yeah.
Like they never
played it.
They
as
never
a sub.
needed an Ali Pali headliner.
No, they
went
jumped that.
like straight to Wembley. See, before you said headlining Ali Pali, I thought you were going to say like the next band to have a breakthrough, and I was going to say that it's felt like Static Dress have always been on the brink of doing something. Yeah. But yeah, obviously not to the extent of headlining Ali Pali.
I do think they're going to have a huge year though. Static Dress. I could see them probably doing like a Kentish Town Forum sellout. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Ali Pali, I'm really struggling. I don't know if there's a band that's like in that spot yet.
Yeah, I don't think Boston Manor are quite there.
No.
Not UK. They're probably like the closest to it, but not there yet.
Not UK, but I do know, and I don't think it's sold out yet, that on their European and UK tour, Electric Callboy are playing there in October, November. I think it is, something around then.
I guess it's that then,
which
isn't it?
I'm intrigued by, but in terms of like bands that I know of our realm that are playing there, I think it's like in October or November.
Oh, that's fucking well far away.
I think I might.
It's a long time to, I guess.
Probably
Sleep's big venues, isn't it? Yeah, that's true.
See, I had somehow pictured Basement suddenly being massive.
I thought that.
But then now they're supporting Knocked Loose at Brixton Academy, which is half the capacity of Ali Pali.
I think that's one of those ones, though, where it's more like one of those situations where like Knocked Loose probably just like that band, so they asked
maybe,
and Basement was just like, yeah, that sounds fun, let's just do it.
Well, what it did is it made that show a guaranteed immediate sellout.
Yeah, which fucking pissed me off. To be fair, I
mean, if we don't limit to UK band,
what venue is it? Brixton. They're doing Brixton Academy.
They're supporting Knocked Loose at Brixton.
I mean, Knocked Loose could probably do it. Do you think they could do Ali Pali? They could
easily.
Do Ali Pali.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing Brixton Academy. To be fair,
they could.
They're way bigger.
Why don't they upgrade that show so that more people can go to it?
I feel like they are a band. Well. I mean, it excludes that UK thing, but they are definitely a band that pretty much every tour they put on, they have pretty fucking perfectly curated lineups.
Do Knocked Loose.
They don't. Yeah, they don't miss on their lineups. They know their audience and what people want to see.
Harm's Way and Pest Control.
Yeah,
fucking hell.
And I think they could perfectly curate something. And as well, like in recent years, we've seen their production step up, and I think they could put on a fucking show.
I mean, just move that show. Just move that show to Ali Pali, I think, because that lineup already fucks.
Yeah, so it's huge. I want to see Basement.
I reckon we get a Basement full length this year.
Yeah.
I fucking hope we do, at least. Please.
Yeah, it's being teased ages ago that they'd been in the studio writing some stuff. And then they put out like this new logo and with like a date. It's like, album announcements come in. And then they just announced the US tour.
Annoying.
It's no good for me, is it?
Can I throw one out to the void? Because if it happens and I don't predict it, I'll be mad. Title fight. Reunion.
I think you got your head in the ceiling fan.
I want to be able to... Yeah, fair enough. Probably won't happen. Probably doesn't need to happen.
That'd be something that you would probably say every year anyway, isn't it?
I'll be in my 80s and can barely remember my own name, and I'll be saying, have Title 5 got back together yet?
I think because of the clash with Download...
Have we given up on the Ali Pali question?
Yeah, I think...
I can't think... I think...
Should we save that as some kind of discussion for another episode?
Yeah. I think because
Subscribe if that's the kind of thing you want.
Yeah. Got another fun prediction. The Ragamuffins go to Bloodstock Festival, and I am going to win the bin jousting.
Or die trying.
It's going to happen. Telling you.
I would fucking love to see you do bin jousting.
It's going to happen. I think like me and Glennie would be a great team for that. And like wear the flag as a cape and everything.
Here's a prediction. James's funeral is being attended early September.
Yeah.
Now, if something happens...
if something happens now, we're going to look back on this.
I want you to play this at my funeral.
You cursed him.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a lucky sip from the mug.
Any more bands we think are going to have huge years?
Let me scroll my Spotify.
Some breakouts.
To James's health. and happiness.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. 2 things have come to mind just from scrolling Spotify.
Go on.
We should be getting, I believe, Holding Absence number 4,
Wow.
which we'll be very excited by. Love the enthusiasm,
Wow.
guys.
Wow,
Wow.
just like that 4. How's
Number
that
4.
happened?
Number 4.
Feels like we were just listening to The Greatest Mistake of My Life. For the
I was
first
thinking
time.
that. I was
Yeah.
like, that's just come out. And then actually, no, that was like
years
2
ago.
years ago.
So I believe that's in the works. And the other one that we do know 100% is coming out, and off the back of the last album, which was fucking incredible, New Stray. And
Yeah.
it felt like Euthanasia was a strong standpoint of like
Well, their best album.
solidifying them as an amazing, incredible band and push them into like a different realm than they were in before. And I think with the slot they've got on the Spirit Box shows, I think that's incredible, and I'd love to see them blow
I wonder
up
if that
even
means
more.
we get a single around those shows.
I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something fairly soon, especially with like Craig now in America. It's a lot easier for them to kind of do bits and pieces together, I think, now. I think they have got great potential if it comes off the back of Euthanasia and they continue pushing forwards. I think Straight from the Path are a band that definitely need to be watched for 2025. I think they're going to do incredible things.
I'm intrigued to see what they do with that new album.
Very, very
We've got
intrigued.
a lot to build on.
Oh,
In the sense of, like,
Yeah.
they've set the bar high there.
Who cares about continuity? James has got a jumper on now.
save you.
Oh yeah.
People didn't notice.
Biffy fucking Clyro. I think they're going to release a new album this year. I think they always seem to want to do something a bit crazy on each album, and I think there's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 songs on the new album where they've kind of... I keep using the phrase like proving people wrong when it comes to talking about Biffy Clyro, but people like to box them into this like, oh, they're a pop band, they're on the radio kind of bracket, but they've got riffs for days, and I can see them putting like just a breakdown or something on the new album.
Yeah.
I say that like there wasn't a breakdown on the previous album as well, and the one before that.
Do you think because of Empire State Bastard that he might explore some of that heavier side with Biffy?
Possibly. I think they're at a point now as well where they probably aren't bothered about chasing like commercial success anymore. I think they'll probably just write the music they want to write.
Yeah. I mean, their older stuff's littered with like moments of heaviness anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so I think for a lot of fans, it'd probably be quite a welcome thing to circle back to. Yeah, that'd be sick.
I think that as phenomenal as it is that Not Loose and Spirit Box have been nominated for a Grammy, they always seem to just give the Grammy to the legacy bands, just for the sake of it. Or, yeah, and I think like it's going to be another disappointing one where they just do it for the legacy band as it is, and not actually give it to something new or something that deserves it maybe more, to be honest. Or it will go to Gojira because just purely from that Olympic performance.
No,
But if not, I can't remember the other 2 that are nominated as well. But I think it's legacy bands, and it will be another disappointing metal Grammy thing. But we're alternative metal fans. We shouldn't really expect anything
I think
great from the Grammys.
Celebrating their nominations is like more than enough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
at least recognition.
Not
Yeah.
100% sure. I want to say I did see something that Not Loose and Poppy will be performing Suffocate on the
No,
Grammys. Is that have
you
I
got
been baited?
you got duped by
Okay,
by
that's disappointing.
Poppy Crave. I saw the same thing, and I was like, oh my god! And then I looked at it closely, and I was like, oh,
That's disappointing.
I got pranked. I haven't got any more predictions. I think
I'm out.
I'm all out.
I've got one more just for the sake of
Go
putting
on.
another one in there. The hot new band Hot Mulligan are going to have a really good year. They've already established themselves as one of the sort of big guns in the pop punk and emo scene now. I think it's been 2 years since their previous album now, so wouldn't be surprised if we get a new one from them. And I think they'll do some big tours and play some big shows. Because the last time I saw them in the UK was Trees, but the last time I saw them the headline show in the UK was at Joiners in Southampton, which is like 250, 300 cap. So the next time they do a UK tour, I can see them doing like a
step up. Major step
at
up.
least a step up, yeah.
And that's our 2025 predictions. Let us know down below what you think is going to happen this year. Any bands that you think are going to do something phenomenal and blow this year out of the way. Any really big moments you think will happen in particular, whether it's festivals, whether it's gigs, or something's going to come completely left field and we're not going to realise it's happening until it does. Let us know down below. We love hearing from you. So you can also join the Ragamuffin Club. Links in the description. It's our Facebook community. We love talking about all this kind of stuff. We've done our very first TikTok live actually before we did all this. So go follow us on all our socials.
Alex sang "Sweet Child of Mine."
He did.
Yeah, I did.
He
I was
did. You
bullied
missed out
into
on that. Join the Ragamuffin Club, link below. It's our Facebook community because sometimes the YouTube comments just don't really do it justice. And we're like having that back and forth with people. It's quite fun to talk about all this stuff with everyone that kind of loves similar things to you with it. So
something we love to do in the Ragamuffin Club is recommend music to each other.
Yeah.
It's also something we do on this podcast, and we haven't done it yet
we haven't done it yet.
in this episode. So
I'm
we
trying
need
to get
to
my plugs
leave you with some recommendations.
Do I do it? I have the opportunity to do the roguest thing in the world here.
Crack on.
There's a film that came out. Better Man, Robbie Williams. Incredible film. Actually really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Grew up as a kid. Was probably like being 4 or 5 years old, the first artist I really liked and listened to growing up before then finding like Busted in Green Day and kind of merging across into what I listen to now. So yeah, upon your recommendation, I watched Better Man. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Gave me a lot of nostalgia for old Robbie Williams. And so I'm going to recommend Escapology because it's a fantastic album.
Great album.
I thought you were going to go for the soundtrack.
No, I wasn't going to do the
You've gone for an
soundtrack. I'm going to go for a certain album.
Mm.
It was, I think, back in the day, my favourite album. It's the roguest move from me. And most people would not expect it in any way. But it's a great album. Underrated as a songwriter. And if you're in America, please start to learn who he is.
Spot on. Dan?
I've got a bit of a rogue one as well, or at least it's rogue for me, because it's an instrumental album.
Oh.
By a band that I've discovered called Mira. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled Mirar.
Okay.
I think there's only 2 members in the band. They're like a Scandi/French instrumental band. I would describe them as being like if Polyphia did industrial gent.
I feel like I'm going to love
and
this.
there's really no way of describing how they sound apart from just encouraging you to listen to that album.
I may have heard the name before.
That album Ascension, which came out earlier this month. Unusually for me, I've been really enjoying this album. I don't usually listen to much instrumental proggy stuff, but
Interesting.
I've really, really enjoyed this. And it's an absolutely wild ride.
We got
There's moments in it as well that are a bit like if Skrillex was to write music on like an 8-string baritone instead of
Sick.
electronic.
Brilliant.
So
I look forward to hearing your thoughts.
we've got pop.
And your thoughts.
We've got industrial, genty, instrumental music. What are you recommending, Alex?
I'm recommending Leeds-based metalcore. Killing Me Softly are one of the most hyped bands in the UK metalcore scene at the moment. Apparently, Killer Live, Killer on record, so I've been told. So I'm going to recommend Autumn Lost in Silence, their 2023 full-length album. Hopefully it's good. We'll find out. And
Oh, you mean you haven't listened to it?
I haven't listened to it. Yeah,
Sweet.
this is a recommendation for myself as well as you guys. So, yeah, we'll see.
What a broad range of recommendations.
That's what you get from the Ragamuffin Music Podcast.
Not usually, though.
Not usually, no.
This is something
This
new.
is a bit rogue. It's a
New
bit of
year,
a-
new me.
Yeah.
No, it will be returning to normal after this, probably. Like I said, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Let us know what you're thinking for 2025, what's going to happen. Follow us on socials. Go grab a t-shirt on the website. Gig vlogs are out. Go watch them. Worst wishes. Better lovers. Neck deep.
Plenty to come.
Yeah.
2025,
Isn't that good
we'll go in
We've already got 3 gig vlogs
huge.
in the first month.
We're going to have a good year of gigs this year.
I have one more prediction to end on.
Oh, go on.
Come closer. Download Festival. It's going to be dry. And with that, we're the Ragamuffins. We'll see you next time.